EJ Williams and Saycon Sengbloh are the stars of the ABC hit comedy The Wonder Years. I'm at Noble at Gold Derby, and I want to start off by asking you, EJ, what's the most special thing about The Wonder Years?
I want to say the most special thing about The Wonder Years is probably the spin we have to this. And I've said this a couple of times and I'll say it again. It's the remix that's towards this show that makes it so different. It's like it's the twist, not only because it's different from the original, but also it's relatable. I would personally say there are not a lot of shows out there that everybody can relate to. And in my personal opinion, I feel like our show is one of those shows where you can relate to it no matter how old you are, what your race is, whether it comes from on the job, school. Just everything that goes on is something that people can really say, wow, I've gone through that before, you know?
What's special for you, Saycon?
I would agree. It's definitely, first of all, thank you so much for having us here. Being able to relate to people from all these different generations, people who love the original series and people who want to see something new, want to see something fresh. You are definitely getting something fresh with this series. You know, I always think about how people love the different generations of like Star Trek. I think we are a whole nother ship to sail, and people are enjoying it. I think we're just having a lot of fun, and we're looking back to this era in 1968 through the lens of, you know, the 2020s right now, right? So there's so much that we know about how things end up that really informs how the writing is, Saladin Patterson and the whole writing team, how they spin it to make it relatable for all generations, from the kids, the moms, the grandparents, everybody can relate.
Now, EJ, did you were obviously not alive when the original version of the series was on. I think I barely was. What was your exposure to that? What do you understand of that? Because you did mention the original.
Well, my understanding, if I think I heard you correctly, you said my understanding of my understanding was very clear to what I could understand, because, you know, the biggest thing for me, because I got the job when I was 11. So the biggest thing for me was really trying to comprehend the stuff that they were going through, as well as trying to bring the stuff that I can from that one to this one. It was a lot of different things, and, you know, like anything, all you got to do is really study. And for me, because like I said, this one's like slightly different from the original. There wasn't that much studying I had to do, but you'll be surprised the little studying that you have to do, how much it actually impacts what we do with this new one.
The beautiful thing is, I think EJ just falls right into the character. He's a natural. He's very naturally talented, naturally gifted. He's funny. He's charming, and he knows how to ride that line in like being like a nerdy kid, but also being a cool kid at the same time. That's a fine line. I feel like in my own personal life, I ride that line as well. Like I do some pretty cool stuff, but I also do some pretty nerdy stuff. Like we all have different types, you know, and we're all enjoying our life in a different way, right? So I think EJ fell right into it very easily. And I get a chance to fall into my character as Lillian, playing his mom. Actually, we just had Mother's Day here in the US, and I posted a pic of us, a video of us behind the scenes. We were having milkshakes in the scene, but behind the scenes, we had a lot of milkshakes because we were filming the scene over and over. And it's just fun how we relate to each other. We crack jokes. EJ's always got jokes. And I think we just fall into it really naturally.
EJ, do you have a favorite sort of behind the scenes moments other than the milkshakes?
I mean, there are a lot of different ones that I love a lot. Particularly with me and Saycon, I want to say it's probably the singing. It's definitely something that it's one of those things where everybody brings what they have. But in this particular situation, it was like Saycon was like, I'm gonna bring what I have and more. Deal with it, and it's like amazing. and well, it's always like it's like a musical on set every day, which I think is really cool.
Thank you. And we have to send some love to Dule Hill, who plays my husband on the show and plays his dad on the show. Dule is also a very musically talented singer, dancer, actor, you know.
For sure.
Laura Karaoke actually sings as well. She plays our daughter on the show, though she's kind of shy about it, but I saw some pictures of her when she was doing musical theater in college. So we all love to sing backstage, but I'm saying backstage because I did a lot of Broadway back in the day, you guys, but behind the scenes, I should say. We're always doing a little singing, a little dancing. EJ, I'm always trying to get EJ to get his TikTok more popping, because he's always dancing and doing things. I'm like, your TikTok will be amazing, but I know it's not a lot of time to do everything.
EJ, you were made for TikTok. Saycon, you do have like a background in Broadway and stuff like that, and music is such a big part of this show. And also you've got towards the end of the season you got to sing, which was really cool. You got a big moment, you got to push someone off stage.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I
won't say who.
We had a great great scene we did in this little club. I think it was called the Wonderland Club, because I was looking at all the props. Our production team, they did such a great job with that episode. And I got to sing a little bit. And we had a good time. There was another episode where it was like a party scene and we got to do these dances from the era. Like, I really enjoy any of that. Anything that we can do that puts you in that era. The clothing, the costumes by Ceci are so good. The staging, everything that's around us, the telephones, all the props, it really puts you in that era. And I love it.
Now, EJ, like, the really interesting thing about this show from your perspective is you're making it in your wonder years. These are your wonder years right now. What are you learning and how are you growing as you guys make this show?
I think the more I grow and grow doing this show has helped me understand nobody is the exact same. And for me, the biggest example that I have is I'm playing a character who's in school and I'm not in school, right? But I still have to portray this character as if I am, right? And to a regular person, that's so basic. Like, it's a simple example. But when you're behind the scenes as a 13-year-old kid and you're playing or portraying this kid who's actually in school, obviously, if it wasn't a show, those two kids could not relate on that one example alone. So you can always find your ground. I think that's the best thing that I've definitely grown in. Definitely finding your ground has been very important.
And I have to add in that EJ, though he doesn't go to traditional school, he is receiving education in between scenes. All the students on our in our cast are all going to, it's a non-traditional type of schooling that they get because they have to get their education, and we do value education on the show. And so it's so great to see how, even though they're like, it's only maybe like 5 of you guys who get to have, you're like having classes together, but on the show, you're in classes with like 30 kids, like you normally would if you were in normal school. I really admire the fact that you're able to balance doing your schoolwork like 20 minutes ago and then coming on to the set and doing a scene. It's really powerful that you're able to do that, EJ.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
It's really a lot of balancing for you, EJ. You have to balance between being nerdy and cool on the show. You need to balance education and acting. It's a lot of balancing acts for you. What have you learned, EJ, from people like Saycon and Dule and some of the older actors on the show?
Something I've definitely learned is another thing. Nobody's exactly the same. I will go into a little bit further detail of that. You have everybody coming from different backgrounds, but they all come together and they can find those pieces that they can relate to each other on and really just tap in, you know? And for example, you have Mr. Richard Gant coming in a different era from Saycon and Dule. Dule and Saycon coming around a similar area, but still different backgrounds. It's just beautifully to see how everybody plays together, and the different stories and different advice you get from everybody really just, when you put it together, it's like one beautiful masterpiece. And it's just great to be able to have that advice in your ear.
Mm-hmm. Remember, I always ask people, do you remember the chicken pox? Because that was a thing at one point. We had an episode where we had Mr. Richard Gant playing my father-in-law on the show. And these guys got the chicken pox, and just seeing how the different generations dealt with that particular ailment, it was just fascinating. And also just being able to be around people like Regina Taylor, who played my mother. She plays my mother on the show. Man, just she's such a fountain of wisdom, and she's been in so many amazing projects. She recently played the Michelle Obama mother character in a project about the first ladies of the U.S. Like she's an amazing actress, and I'm just thrilled that I get a chance to be around these great actors, and also just to be able to see how people are balancing their personal lives, memorizing lines, learning how to walk, talk, and live as though we were in the era of the late 60s. And then hearing this amazing voiceover with Don Cheadle, who is a huge movie star, but then he lends his voice to the show and puts us right back in the present, given that remark on how he thought, but what's really going on now. It's a brilliant opportunity. And I hope that people are enjoying being able to experience all these new actors, and then veterans like Don Cheadle, like Dule Hill, being able to experience all of us together on this production.
What have you learnt, Saycon, from EJ?
The thing I learned from EJ is a type of fearlessness. We did this episode where we were filming in Alabama, which is a little south of Atlanta, where we normally film. And it was an episode about the science fair. And I'm sure all of you who've grown up going to school, you remember having to do your science fair projects, which is good because EJ, even though you're not in regular school, you get to like go through all the scenes that we would have done or things you would have done.
Right.
So EJ's character, he had a science project, and EJ had this scene where he had to say all this, all these scientific words, and it was the end of the day, it was time to go. And he was just like hitting all these words, hitting all these lines. And like, he was so cool under pressure. And I know, I will say for myself, I can speak for a lot of actors. We're all a lot more nervous than we appear. We know how to make it look like we're not nervous, but we're all quite nervous quite often. And so EJ was just really good at leading the cast and doing his lines. And they were able to get all the sound bites, get everything they needed. And I was like, he better go. And I said to myself, I bet he got that, because he's a really good basketball player in real life. I said, I bet he got that work under pressure thing from his basketball skills. So that was one of my favorite things, was just seeing like how you can just fall back and just enjoy. I also enjoy seeing how EJ, he makes jokes, he's enjoying life and not like taking everything so super seriously all the time. Though he's like super serious in his interview. When we're like on set, EJ's always cracking jokes. So I love that he really finds the joy in life. So that's great.
Where is the joy in the Wonder Years show, EJ? Where does that come from?
The joy in the Wonder Years show is really from the family. I definitely say that because family is not always what people think it looks like. And particularly, you have a whole bunch of different people who you could consider a part of the Wonder Years family in the show. And the best example I have of that is Corey Long and his family, how they're always at the house all the time, eating dinner with us different times. Family is what you make it, right?
I love that too.
I would definitely say the joyness in the show comes from the family. The just loveness and kindness everybody spreads.
So lovely.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things too. Sorry guys, I had some clothing brought in. We have an event we're going to later on today.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry about that. I really love that the families are able to join together and show that camaraderie, that neighborhood camaraderie that not all people have. I think in this era, people don't trust each other, and we don't talk as much, or everybody's texting, and so the fact that people are coming together to have dinner and having the families over, the best friends, the guys coming over to play cards, and having parties at the house, that type of socialization is beautiful to see represented. Because I'm always I'm always inspiring people to connect with each other and not just be about being on our phones all the time.
Yeah, that's great. If each of you could use just one word to describe the Wonder Years, what word would you describe? What word would you use?
Probably the word in the title, wonder. And I would say that personally because once you start looking at the show, you'll start asking yourself, like, I wonder why this happened, or I wonder why this is happening. I wonder why they did it. You'll have a lot of questions where you're wondering why people are doing certain things. And even now, people are always wondering different things that are going on, whether I wonder why I got that bad grade. I wonder why I got like just a whole bunch of different things. People are asking themselves questions. So wonder is definitely the word I would use.
Yeah. Saycon?
And say the question again.
What if you could use one word to describe the Wonder Years? What word would you use?
The one word I would use, because wonder is a good word. EJ already took that word because the show is wonderful.
When you're in first, you get all the words on the table.
Right. The word I would use to describe the show would be powerful, because it's like this show is like the little engine that could. You see this story about this small family, but everything that happens every day are all these powerful changes, powerful experiences. The teenage daughter going through her strife that she experiences with love and her boyfriend cheating, and my character learning to grow in her power in her job, in her position as an accountant in the late 60s. I think just the two characters, the mom and the dad, growing in their power as a family and learning how to be a couple who's managing all of this family. And also, we can't forget our son who has experienced war in Vietnam and the issues that he experiences coming home and recovering and living his life post-war. It's a powerful series. It's powerful.
Yeah, there you go. Wonder and powerful, the two words we have. You
wonderfully powerful.
Yeah, wonderfully powerful. You could have gone years, Saycon, but I think powerful was probably a better word.
Good.
Well, EJ and Saycon, thank you so much for spending time with us talking about the Wonder Years. All the best of luck with the upcoming Emmy Awards, and people watching this interview can go to goldderby.com to make their awards predictions and join the discussion in our forums. Guys, thanks for chatting.
Thank you. Can't wait for you to watch season 2 as well. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very excited.